Hello there, I am Fernanda Paiva, Hitchhiking Stars, and bringing you some insights about the lunar cycles, so the lunations, new moons and full moons. And today we're going to talk a little bit about the new moon in Cancer that's happening on the 5th of July. So 5th of July 2024, there is a new moon at 14 degrees Cancer. So a very powerful new moon because the moon is very well placed in Cancer. Cancer is ruled by the moon, so it's in rulership that we call in astrology. So this moon is very, very powerful, very strong in its own sign. And this can be the perfect cycle to set some intentions connected to Cancerian themes. So anything from home, family life, our private lives as well. So having a little bit more balance and more self-care, for example, if we've been working too hard and being out into the world for a little bit too much. But it's also a great time for setting intentions connected to emotional security. I think this is one of the key words for all of the water signs, but especially for Cancer. So the sign of Cancer really has to do with protection, being protective of the ones that we love, but also self-protecting. So there is a lot of self-care that we can achieve for this lunar cycle with the new moon happening in Cancer. And Venus, which is the planet connected to self-worth, self-love, relationships, and values as well, is also in Cancer. So it's also reinforcing this Cancerian energy. So we've got both the moon and Venus, the two yin planets, in this sign as well. So there's this sort of emphasis in this flavor, like enjoying the comforts of our home and being protected, feeling safe. So anything to do with that really is under the spotlight for this new cycle. So we can create transformation, which is what the then following full moon is going to be about, by creating a very comfortable container. So it would be a great idea to set intentions and to create the right container for when the full moon comes up. And we'll talk about the full moon on a later stage, but for now, this is what it's important to keep in mind. To create the right safe container for dealing with intense emotions in the second half of this month, of the month of July. So that's something that this new moon can be a wonderful time for. Now, there are a couple of other things that I'd like to share with you about the astrological chart of this new moon that I have right in front of me, and also what the Sabian symbol is for 14 degrees Cancer, reminding you that it is always really important to bring it into your natal chart. So really, where is 14 degrees Cancer in your astrological map? What house that new moon is going to be happening in? What flavors more specifically you're going to be dealing with, or you're going to have the most opportunity to start to have that sense of a new beginning. So it's always very important to bring to that level. All right, no matter how much insights we can think, it's always going to be very individual how we receive these energies as well. So just a heads up to keep that in mind as well. Now, let's have a look at the Sabian symbol of this full moon. So the Sabian symbol is a group of people who have overeaten and enjoyed it. So a group of people who have overeaten and enjoyed it. That's a curious imagery. For the new moon in Cancer, I can see that as family members or a group of people that live together somehow. They have that sort of emotional connection as well. But there are two sides to this imagery when I listen and when I think, when I imagine it. So one is the word enjoy. And enjoy has a connection to joy. So there is a sense of sharing sharing the good times, being with the people that we love, focusing on those relationships that are self-sustaining, that brings us a sense of comfort and a sense of joy as well, that we can do things together. Eating is fundamental for our survival, but it's also something that I see very connected to Cancer. I think Cancerians love to feed people, and feeding is an act of love. So there is that sort of sharing, food together, and sharing that nutrition, that, the sort of nourishment, sharing nourishment together. That's implied in the imagery of the Sabian symbols. There's a potential for sharing nourishment. But there is also another side to this image, which is overeating. Overeating is also bringing the idea of exaggerating, doing it too much, not being very balanced. And that's a potential warning for this cycle as well. The sense of overdoing something, overdoing the self-protection, or overdoing the family, the looking after, the nurturing, the nourishing, something of a Cancerian flavor that we might be overdoing as well, that we might be exaggerating. So there is a little bit of a warning there not to overdo something with this lunar cycle. So there is a sense of sharing with others, and there is a sense of careful not to overdo or exaggerate. So that's something that I got from the imagery for this new moon. Now, let's have a look at any aspects or any other flavors that might be connected or that are implied in the astrological chart for this new moon as well. And one of the things that draws my attention when I'm looking at the chart is opposition. So it's a separating aspect. The opposition has already happened, but there is an opposition between Mercury and Pluto. So Mercury and Pluto are forming an opposition in Leo and Aquarius. And again, I have this feeling connected to exaggeration in this aspect as well, but more like towards obsession, potentially, obsessive thinking. So we might need to get to the bottom of something as well during this lunar cycle, and be really aware of any power struggles in communication. So make sure that you are being honest, that you are being open with yourself and with others as well by looking at these aspects. I also think the Mercury opposition Pluto at the beginning of this cycle can be a very powerful aspect for doing shadow work, for really going deeper into our psyches and learning something about ourselves, learning something that's being hidden under the surface. And the two signs, Aquarius and Leo, has that connection between what I can offer as an individual with my authenticity, that would be Leo, to the group, that would be Aquarius, serving the group or being part of a group and bringing, collective awareness through my own unique contribution. That's a kind of a Leo Aquarius sort of flavor here that they share. So we've got that Mercury Pluto happening at the new moon. But we also have an interesting sextile between Mars and Saturn. This is very, very exact. It's a very precise aspect. They're both at 19 degrees. Saturn is at 19 degrees Pisces and Mars at 19 degrees Taurus. And there is a sense of structured and sustained action that we can take slowly throughout this lunar cycle as well. And most of the planets in this new moon are in the more introverted, security-driven signs. So apart from Mercury being in Leo, we've got Saturn and Neptune in Pisces, we have Mars in Taurus, obviously the Moon, the Sun, and Venus in Cancer as well. So we have a lot of water and Earth here as well. So this is something that we can focus as well during this lunar cycle, the sense of security, the sense of stability within ourselves and in our surroundings as well. So that Mars sextile Saturn that will be relevant for the whole lunar cycle is telling me that we can be patient, or that we can be stable in our actions somehow, that we can create structures that will be beneficial to our sense of security, that will be in tandem with our values as well, which is what Taurus represent. So this is an important aspect, an important underlying sort of energy in this lunar cycle as well. And one more thing that will be nearby, will be about to happen, not quite during the new moon, but it will be soon, will be a little bit after. So 10 days later, after this new moon, we're gonna have the exact aspect. But during the new moon, Mars won't be too far from Uranus, so it's about 6 degrees away from forming a conjunction. So they're going to be close together 10 days later, and it will be talking about impulsive action here as well, or acting outside the box, or unexpected actions and things like that. So that's another dimension here that's kind of beginning to form during the new moon, and that will develop later in the cycle as well. So something about fighting for freedom there somehow, that's also part of the blueprint of this lunar cycle as well. So that's it, really. These are the main flavors that I really that really caught my attention when I saw the chart. I hope you have a wonderful new moon and a beautiful cycle as well. This new moon is wonderful for psychic abilities as well, with the Cancerian energies and the water in the chart. So it's a beautiful time for that as well. So I hope this is being helpful and inspiring, and I'm wishing you a beautiful, beautiful new moon and lunar cycle, and I will speak to you all soon.